Hey gang, what is going on? Welcome. This is Byte That's weekly wrestling podcast, the 169th episode of the wrestling show. Remember, we are available every single Wednesday night, and we have a lot to cover. Not just because Keith is here, we got the full gang alongside Ryan from Boston, Mass. Keith is from Canada. We're going to be talking about the state of the WWE.
Just Canada. Just Canada. It's all the same place.
You guys,
it's all the same
Canada's
place.
a huge place. You can overwhelm people. If you say, like, from Winnipeg, Manitoba, like, where is that? Honestly, Keith, I've known you for 13 years, buddy. I don't know where Winnipeg is. I just don't.
That's totally acceptable.
Do you know where Puerto Rico is in the map?
It's somewhere near Miami. That's all I know about it.
Just in case you're a first-time listener, I am from Puerto Rico. We do record from each respective location. Not everybody knows that. They assume that we're from different locations and record in one place. But no. Oddly enough, I would love to shake Ryan's hand and Keith at the same time.
That's
going to happen next year, though.
I jump on my dog sled and drive over to Puerto Rico every week.
You can try. I don't think it's going to happen, but you can try. Something else people can try
water skis on
is
it,
the
maybe.
giveaway. Well, water skis won't get you a wrestling crate, though, but we will. We actually do have a giveaway happening ending December 7th where you have a chance to win a BT crate. For all the details, check out ByteThat.com. That's where you can also check out the podcast, our social media. Very important, though, you have to be from the U.S., Canada, or Mexico in order to be able to qualify. This has been quite the week. We're not going to have time, but we're not going to pull a Joey Styles here. We're not going to talk about that, but that is something very unfortunate that happened with Joey Styles making some negative comments. Keith, you're back. You know, last week people were concerned that you were gone just after the elections took place and the winner was announced. Some speculation happened.
What's the connection?
I don't
care. I'm not American.
Well, there might be a lot of people.
Your own country
You're North American.
Apparently, there's a ton of people
So
that want to flee to Canada. So look out for your borders. You get a lot of celebrities who probably won't make do on their promises anyway.
Let them. I'm accepting applications. Name your price. If it's good enough for me, we can talk.
Yeah, so we got ourselves our very own Ted DiBiase here with Keith.
Keith is subletting to celebrities looking to flee the country.
Hey, apparently Snoop Dogg is moving to Canada, so you can hang out.
I'm cool with that.
With Diggity Dog.
Really, right? I mean, we just became legal in California, and Snoop Dogg wants to leave. That's ridiculous.
Probably not. But if the D.O. Double Jizzle wants to come and represent my home and native land, I fully accept this move.
Only if you can get him on the podcast. Only then will I be okay with it, Keith. Otherwise, I may get a little bit jealous.
For shizzle.
But we got a lot of wrestling to talk about. The agenda is so packed this week that instead of doing the traditional Raw and then SmackDown talk, we're just going to lay down the law about the state of the WWE and then give our predictions. But instead of doing quick predictions, we're going to go, match by match and then sort of give our thoughts about everything that transpired this week. We got invasion angles happening, which, I do think was something that many people expected, but it is something that needs to happen. But as always, Byte That Cast on Twitter. You can vote on the patented out of 4 rating scale, which you thought of Raw and SmackDown Live. Now for Raw, the majority of the voting gave it a 2 out of 4, stating that it was a good show. Not boom shakalaka. So I will say, I think the voting this week is kind of botched. Because, who made the poll? Because it wasn't me. Come on.
That might have been me. And by might have, it was totally me.
I definitely made the SmackDown poll, which was the normal poll.
Yeah, because,
I don't know. It felt like a good... I was thinking about NBA Jam at the time, and
so
I felt like...
that happens.
Logically, the most prestigious option had to be Boom Shakalaka.
Of course.
Yeah.
So the voting options...
It could have been, oh my, he's on fire, but I chose not to.
Yeah, so the options were good, great, and Boom Shakalaka. I'm surprised Boom Shakalaka did not win, but good did. Now for SmackDown Live, we had the traditional poll. The number one pick was in Spanish, actually. Nobody gave it 1 out of 4. 3 out of 4 was the top thing. So it keeps happening. Most people prefer SmackDown over Raw. I agree. Although Raw, the closure of it was expected. You're bound to get that, Raw versus SmackDown vibe. Shane McMahon got his action in. We got some lucha things happening on SmackDown. Aside from that lucha thing and the random Oni Lorcan debut
that was
in like
so
a
weird.
4-minute match, which show did you guys think was the solid package to pump you up for Survivor Series?
Honestly, I thought Raw was the better show this week. It just had the higher highs. Like, yes, not every segment was good. Like, minute to minute, SmackDown was the superior show, but Raw definitely had the higher highs, and for me, it made the better show this week. Like, Lesnar Goldberg, that segment was awesome. Nothing even came close to the Raw, like the final segment of Raw, as far as I'm concerned this week. That was so good. And there was even a couple of great matches sprinkled in there. Overall, I think Raw wins it for me this week.
Yeah, at this point, I just have to go with, hey, which was the more memorable show, even if it was only a few segments? I think at this point, we just have to accept that SmackDown as a show is always going to flow better. But as far as what was more memorable for the week, Goldberg and Lesnar and the final segment on Raw were the two standout segments for me this week. So I have to give the win to Raw. I thought the cutting edge on SmackDown was good, but it just didn't come nearly as close to how Raw ended with the two teams facing off and the banter that they had and then the brawl.
I think that overall, it was probably the best go-home week that the WWE has had in a very long time, because with the exception of the Raw or SmackDown exclusive pay-per-views, historically, if you look back at WrestleMania, at SummerSlam, we've always felt so meh about it. But you have two shows that, whether you're on Team Raw or Team SmackDown, they have to get you excited. Like this weekend, to me, between NXT Takeover and Survivor Series, I'm going to have to go break my lactose-free diet and get me some pizza for Survivor Series.
Well, one
Maybe
thing I feel
pepperoni.
like one thing that's come at the expense of the network, I feel like, is go-home shows. Go-home shows used to be a much bigger deal when you were trying to sell a pay-per-view. So it was nice that they actually did go all out for go-home shows going into what's supposed to be a big 4 pay-per-view. So I like that they put the effort in. It did feel a little bit more old school, like they were really trying to get people interested in the pay-per-view, even though the network doesn't have to really worry as much because they're already getting your money anyway.
Now, okay, regardless of what we thought about Raw and SmackDown, and we're not going to really get to talking smack because the big show that happened this week, I mean, big is relative here, but it was the State of the WWE Address Survivor Series edition. So WWE really didn't tell us what was going to happen here. It was just the commissioners and GMs for the respective brands, but they didn't tell us if it was going to be, in or out of kayfabe, because we're so used to, like with the Stone Cold podcast and all that, to be, okay, it's after Raw, so whatever. And I don't think they got the memo. I think everybody in there had their own mindset, and then the Blue brand was like, yeah, we're here to have a good time.
I will argue that 3 out of 4 of those people got the memo. And then the other one was so far off the mark.
Poor guy.
That who the hell knows what memo he got, because, wow, that was something.
Okay, because there are so many things to talk about this, where should we start? Because we got Foley, we can talk about Stephanie, just the large contrast between Raw and SmackDown GMs and commissioners itself. I don't even know where to begin.
How about we start with, why was it called State of the WWE Universe? Was it just because we elected a president and nothing else?
Ding, ding. That's probably
go.
exactly why.
Even the music at the beginning, I was like, is the Colbert Show coming back and all that? Because I got that vibe from it, but then not even Renee Young or Paul Heyman could save that thing, because it was painful. Because first of all, okay, go ahead.
I think they were going for a Talking Smack type of feel to it, with the whole kind of, unscripted, looser structure. I just think there were probably there were too many.
Well, they hit that mark.
Yeah, there were too many chefs in the kitchen, and nobody was on the same page as to where they really wanted to go with this. Because it was really supposed to be debating about the two teams, I guess, Raw versus SmackDown, going into Survivor Series. But honestly, how much can you honestly talk about with the two teams? Wrestling is funny in that way. You can't really just go into too much detail about, oh, this is the advantage of this strategy or whatever, and AJ Styles and this. There's only so much you can honestly talk about, so it kind of just devolved into arguing.
The Raw team will emerge victorious at Survivor Series because Dana Bryan is the B+ player. Now, just repeat that for about 30 minutes, and that's basically what we got at the show. Let's actually get to the positive part first. I think that Dana Bryan and Shane McMahon did a great job. They didn't change from what we've liked about them on SmackDown, on Talking Smack, I should say, where Dana Bryan just doesn't care. Like, he is, I mean, he even called Cesaro Claudio by mistake and then corrected himself. He brought up TNA, even though it didn't even make sense because the year that he talked about, TNA wasn't even in existence yet. It was like
he was a little
years
off
later.
There. Yeah.
But it was enjoyable. I could sense like he is legitimately trying to carry the show. He is, and by show I mean SmackDown, right? Like not State of the WWE. He believes in the product. But then you go to the other side, and then let's go with maybe Stephanie first, because I think with Foley, it's not going to be it's going to be a worse conversation there. Stephanie only cared about promoting things the way people promoted things 30 years ago. I don't care what you're saying, Keith. I don't care what you're saying, Ryan. Blah, blah, blah. Raw team's going to win. Raw team's going to win. That was the whole thing. I was kind of feeling like she was making out gibberish. And I was listening to this on the drive to home from work because I was not able to watch it after Raw. And I wanted to shut it off because Stephanie was being so damn annoying. It was
in more ways than one. Not just Stephanie, but Stephanie, to me, was very much trying to refocus back to Survivor Series every single time. And it obviously just never worked out. Things never were able to get back on track. But that's why I view her kind of being super repetitive and redundant, is because every single time people were getting off track, she was just trying to bring it back around to Survivor Series, and nobody was just having any of it.
But I think Stephanie was very successful in that way. Like, I did not dislike Stephanie's part as much as you guys. Like, the state of the WWE address was there to sell Survivor Series. Stephanie knew that. That's what she was there to do. And Shane and Daniel Bryan, like, really always fed off of each other. Like, one would make a point and the other would really compliment it. Stephanie McMahon was backed into a hell of a corner that way because the person she was there with did not give her a single damn thing. So that's probably why it was so repetitive. Like, I didn't see a problem with it. And as far as actually promoting the show goes, I think she did a really good job of it. Stephanie McMahon said Stephanie McMahon things. It wasn't anything crazy or groundbreaking, and she didn't mention anything like TNA, but she doesn't do that, and it was perfectly fine.
The large conversation for me for this was remove what was good or bad from a script writing standpoint. Because I was listening to Sam Roberts' podcast this week, and he reiterated that point where, you know, we as wrestling fans don't look at the wrestler. We try to look at the script and the people behind it. If I just take this by face value and you split the screen in half, the left side reminds me why I love wrestling, which Ryan says about SmackDown almost every week. And the right side reminds me, wow, some things still need to change. Because going over to Mick Foley now, the guy, I don't even know what, has he always been like this? And maybe the characters that he has had have been able to sort of hide this, because it legitimately felt like he was paying no attention to everything, to anything. The question about whether he would work with Dana Bryan or not was clear as day. Stephanie's name was not even brought up. And then he goes on this thing about Stephanie, about the book, asking Stephanie, can I say this? Can I say this? And Stephanie has this face of like, sure. Because
yeah, sure. What are you going to say?
What am I going to say? No. And then just block you. And then he even brings up Connor's Cure and selling socks. I'm like, the question was whether you would work with Dana Bryan or not.
He's like, damn. He's bringing up Connor's Cure, which, like, Daniel Bryan had a part in kind of the creation of that. So I don't know what he's trying to say there. Yeah, let's put it this way. This was a completely, from what we can tell, this was relatively unscripted. And Foley recently, hasn't been put in that role. I mean, he's done. I mean, this is a guy from the old school era. He's done a million unscripted promos in his career, but Foley's getting a little older. Let's be honest, the guy's taken a lot of hits to the head. It's very possible he was just like not in a good state at this point in time. He seems like confused in a way,
He
and
needs
just
to not be the GM.
He just started rambling.
There have been multiple examples recently of Mick Foley just straight up forgetting his lines when he was in the ring. Like, there have been times when Stephanie McMahon's needed to remind him on live television, this is what you're supposed to say.
Let's be real. So there's no way this guy doesn't have some form of brain damage. And I'm not trying to be a doctor here.
We get you.
But clearly, I mean, it's
not that hard to build a case on it. Just watching all of the blunt force trauma that Mick Foley's skull has taken.
I'm sure, his wrestling career has taken a toll on him, and being able to go, remember lines or just, things like this, trying to be off the cuff. Things happen. You get confused. Sometimes you get caught off guard and you're just tripping over your words, or you're rambling in a different direction. So, I'm willing to give Foley the benefit of the doubt. I know he's had some issues, but, I like the guy. I want to see him succeed. And this was hard to watch. And I really felt bad for the guy because he just seemed lost and everyone else had no idea where he was going with anything. And it just made for such an awkward show.
Yeah, I would go as far as saying it was straight up brutal.
Yeah, the whole episode you're watching Foley and you're just like, keep it together, man. Don't do anything else weird. And
it's
after
so tough.
He did get better after the whole like socks ramble thing. That was by far the worst thing. And after that, he reined it in a little bit.
A little bit, but I would go as far as say not enough. Like the whole, well, why didn't you put the Divas in the main event? And those little, like, meaningless jabs that Foley was taking. It just, every single one of them missed the mark. And it's really unfortunate because I'm in two minds. I understand. I get it why it happened. Like, as a, like, you're told that dead silence is the worst thing as an entertainer, that even if you don't know what you're supposed to say, just say words until you remember your point and then get back on track. And it just seemed like a constant state of that. So you kind of feel sympathy in that way. But at the same time, this is like, you're supposed to be this general manager, this is the authority figure, and you are barely making a coherent sentence. It's weird. It's like, maybe it's an extension of the show.
It also shows that when you have general manager characters trying to argue with each other about what they did on their show, you're gonna kind of create like plot holes and stuff, because obviously the general manager's decisions aren't because they're deciding from a character standpoint. It's obviously from booking in the writing team and all of that. So when Foley calls out like Daniel Bryan for, why didn't you put the women in the main event? Like, what the hell is he supposed to say? It's like, because it's not his freaking decision. That's why.
No, even then, I actually would disagree with that. I think that's where you excel, because Daniel Bryan has sounded like a GM. Regardless of whether he, makes actual decisions or not, I believe in what he says. Whereas with Foley,
on Talking Smack, he does a great job of that.
Exactly, he really does.
But I'm saying, like, when you have both sides kind of coming at each other, it can kind of create some weird moments where it's difficult to justify some of those things.
And at that point, honestly, I'd say remove the weaker link. Because if they want us to care about Raw more than SmackDown, or SmackDown more than Raw, in a competitive environment where WWE as a whole becomes bigger, you need somebody that believes in the words that they say, not somebody that is fumbling. As Keith said, you're the authority. You're the one that tells me why I should care about the show. And if you don't even know why the things that are happening on the show are happening, what does that say about the whole show, especially when it's 3 hours? And if you leave it up to Stephanie for me to care about the show, that's not even good. So we'll just leave it at that, because we got to talk about the Undertaker apparently coming back, not just as a one-time appearance, but apparently, number one, as a member of the SmackDown Live roster. And number two, he said that WrestleMania will no longer define him. So we're going to see him at next year's WrestleMania, so I'm super pumped about that. But what does this mean? I mean, he said
maybe
he's back.
he won't have... He might be back, but what if, from extension of this whole WrestleMania does not define me thing, this is the first year that we don't have an Undertaker match at WrestleMania?
Oh, that's not happening. That there is no way. We can bet money on that right now.
Yeah, maybe he was just kind of saying, like, it doesn't define me. Like, that's not the only thing I'll do.
Okay.
But
I don't know, though. Back semi-regular, like... I'm shocked that, I mean, we all feel like how many matches are left in The Undertaker. You know, we feel like it's pretty low. I mean, there were even reports saying that after his match with Shane, he was saying he was done. And now he's taking souls and digging holes, and he's ready to come back.
That was so weird.
I feel like this is the start of his kind of last run. This seems to me like this is the beginning of the end, and this is kind of his final run. Maybe he'll do a Royal Rumble, one more pay-per-view, maybe a couple Smackdowns, and then WrestleMania against John Cena or something like that, and then he goes out. I can't see him going too much longer, and for God's sakes, the guy is given enough to this business. Let him just retire and be like... Let him retire while he can still friggin' walk, all right?
Please. And that match is happening. The fact that they moved him over to SmackDown, and SmackDown, the ratings keep going up, you know, and that's an excellent sign where you don't have John Cena as the main face of the company. You have AJ Styles, who people don't even know about for less than a year, right? And then SmackDown's ratings keep going up. They can take that risk. That and... Man, the thought of sitting live in that audience to an Undertaker versus John Cena match, I got goosebumps just saying that right now. Wow.
That's going to be a doozy.
That's going to be a hell of a
streak, dude, if the streak was still a thing, that would be so huge. It's just unfortunate. It's still going to be an epic match, but with the streak intact, it would have been so much better.
So I think this is worth bringing up. What kind of crazy world do we live in where we saw both The Undertaker and James Ellsworth in the same ring last night?
Yeah,
what's happened here?
I was looking at James Ellsworth in the ring, and I'm just like, does he even believe he's in the ring with The Undertaker right now? Does he even believe that himself?
Totally. But no, I totally share your guys' thoughts where, yeah, I guess it's cool The Undertaker's back, taking souls and digging holes. I'm going to fit that in as many places as I can. But why? Why do you need to be here, Undertaker? You have literally nothing left to prove. Just even if you don't want WrestleMania to define you, WrestleMania doesn't really define you.
Vince McMahon is a very persuasive individual, is what I think.
So. Or maybe it's a situation you can't really rule out that maybe just The Undertaker wants to do it.
I'm just going to lay down what I think is going to happen, and then we'll get to the predictions here. I believe I said this months ago, like in the initial report. I think I said this after WrestleMania, I believe, where what should happen is this charity case type thing, where a guy like John Cena will just tell him, dude, you do not need to come back. Where they almost try to make him snap out of the character, where they want him to stop doing that voice.
They did that years ago with Triple H. Their whole feud was based around the angle of, you actually want me to beat you, so this can be over. I'm basically mercy killing you by ending the streak.
But Triple H is not John Cena. As big as a superstar as Triple H, John Cena is like 10 times a bigger superstar. Let's be honest. He excels wrestling. And if you want to sell tickets and you tell people, there's a lot of people that still hate Cena for Cena being Cena. It has nothing to do with how good or bad he is. And you tell people that his last match is going to be with Cena, they're going to go in that arena simply to boo Cena. They don't even care about the match, and that alone is worth the price of admission. So I think it should be that, where like Shawn Michaels with Ric Flair was the same thing. People knew Flair was going to lose. Shawn Michaels was basically going like, dude, I'm going to beat you. Everybody was going, I'm going to beat you. You at no point doubted that was going to happen, but that made the story that much better because it's about going like, just end it, man. End it. And that should be how Taker goes out. That really should be, because if it's either that or just having a half-ass match where he's trying to look good but doesn't, and that's the last thing we have, think of his Sting. I don't want that to happen with Taker. So we're going to be there anyway, so I'm pumped for it regardless.
If only Bray Wyatt was actually built properly and they didn't already like blow through that feud. Man, he could have had something there.
But we did take a good look at Bray Wyatt's
the torch,
ass.
Man. My internet fantasy booking didn't come true, so I'm angry.
But Ryan, we got Bray Wyatt this week with Stephanie and Renee. How good is that?
Yeah. It's really, it's doing wonders for Bray Wyatt's
taking
career.
souls and digging holes, am I right?
Okay, gang, so let's, without further ado, get to our Survivor Series. I'm not going to say predictions, even though they kind of are, because we're going to give our predictions, but just conversation. We're going to conversationalize about Survivor Series, how we feel about the matches, our hype level. So without further ado, let's kick it off first with the Cruiserweight title match. The champion, Brian Kendrick, takes on the master of the Lucha things, Kalisto, where the stipulation is if Kalisto wins, not only does he become the Cruiserweight champion, but the entire division will move over to SmackDown Live, because he is going to win, right? It is happening.
I mean, 205 Live kind of gives this away, right?
Yep. We got into this a lot last week. It's pretty obvious that it makes sense for the entire Cruiserweight division to move over to SmackDown if they're going to record a show exclusively for them after SmackDown anyway. So instead of having them traveling to 2 different shows a week, throw it all on SmackDown, nice, clean, and Raw just abandons their whole Cruiserweight division.
Because why not?
Because they were like, yep, we tried for a couple months, didn't work. We're going to just throw that crap over to SmackDown, let them deal with it, and we'll just have to figure out a new way to fill that, hour.
Are you guys looking forward to the match?
I think it'll be fine. I don't think it'll be anything special, but it'll be good.
My hype levels are incredibly low. It's about a 1 out of 4. Even though these are two talented, they're very talented guys. I'm not going to take that away from them. That's just my hype level. On a scale of 1 to Mojo Rawley, it's a 1.
Yeah, I kind of hope to get hype throughout, but I'm feeling like this match is going to be put in a terrible spot, and it's not going to be given the chance to shine. Next up, we have the Intercontinental title match with the new champion. And we may be having a little conversation about that right
Dolph
now.
Ziggler.
Yeah, man, poor guy. But yeah, it's going to be The Miz versus Sami Zayn. If Zayn wins, the IC title goes to Raw. So let's talk about what happened here. Because the moment that I knew Miz was going to win was when they actually added the graphic of it could be Ziggler or The Miz. Because historically, WWE never puts a graphic of, hey, the other guy may be it. They just put the graphic of the 2 guys that are battling, and they just tell you, hey, if this guy loses, then we change it. So that gave it away for me. What the hell? What the hell? What the hell, guys? What's going on here with Ziggler?
The only explanation I could think of is they don't want Ziggler to be the one that that loses the Intercontinental title. I think... So first of all, prediction, I think the Intercontinental Championship is going to Raw in this match. And The Miz doesn't really lose much character-wise for being the person that loses the title for SmackDown. If anything, it makes him like a more despicable person. It adds to it. So from that standpoint, I think that it's awesome that The Miz beat Dolph Ziggler for the title. And I think much like the Cruiserweight title match, this match will be middling at best.
I'm definitely looking forward to this match a lot more than the Cruiserweight one. I think the Miz is actually going to retain, and I think that they just wanted to go with a heel versus face matchup, and also they can always have Miz cheat to win, so you don't want to. So Sami Zayn doesn't have to lose cleanly, and also just that the Intercontinental title was more interesting when the Miz had it. I mean, it's been kind of okay since Ziggler's had it, and this is exactly why I thought he should have just lost and walked away during the whole IC title feud, because look what happened. Here we go with Dolph Ziggler again. I mean, I hope they have a plan for him, but it doesn't look good right now. We talked a lot about this last week, but the Intercontinental title is still fine to stay on SmackDown, even with their Cruiserweight title moving on to SmackDown, because they're going to have their own show. So it's not like they can't fit all the divisions in one show in 2 hours. It'll be fine. I think it would be really weird to have the IC and US title on one show. It's totally possible, but I really want to see the IC title stay on SmackDown. I really hope it does, and I think it will.
I'm going to give one of my bold Juan predictions for this, so get ready.
So is the Miz going to transform into the Undertaker or something?
Yeah, he's going to turn into Kevin Owens and somehow merge the titles.
Yes, Kevin Owens is going to win the title. No, here's the thing. Going to take your quote, Ryan. What's going to happen is Sami Zayn is going to win. The Miz is going to go on a rant. The Royal Rumble is not too far off, and they can find a loophole where even though the title goes to Raw, he can still get his rematch clause. So from here till the Rumble, it becomes a thing of kind of like Christian's one more match thing, but they do it where the Miz needs to get the title back because he basically looked like an embarrassing fool where he lost the title from SmackDown to Raw. He wants to bring it back and ultimately wins it back there. So that way, even though SmackDown technically has one less championship, even though there's a Cruiserweight one, it's still kind of there. Because the story is about the Miz wanting to get it back. What, Keith?
And I even like that. I'm actually super agreeing with you.
To disagree with me. Sorry.
I actually like it because you can build this thing where the Miz and Dolph Ziggler fight over the rematch clause, because Dolph Ziggler never really gets his rematch clause either. So they're fighting to see who can take the title back to SmackDown.
Man, I like your idea. I'm convinced that feud will never end then, if that's where the plans are going.
But it's SmackDown. If we were having this conversation about Raw, there's no chance in hell that would happen. But I have a little bit of optimism, even though a little bit of optimism seems contradictory, but I'm digging it, so I'm sticking to it.
It's a little out there, but it's possible. I'm not going to shoot it down. It's one of your more honed in wild predictions.
Thank you very much, sir. So now let's take 30 minutes talking about everybody that's going to be in the Survivor Series tag team elimination match, even though that kind of sounds redundant. It's the tag team division Survivor Series elimination match. So Team SmackDown, Heath Slater, the War Machine Rhino, the High Bros, American Alpha, the Usos, and Tyler Breeze and the Dango against Team Raw, which is Enzo Amore and Big Cass, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, Cesaro and Sheamus, and the New Day. I'm pretty sure I'm not leaving out any tag team that's worth mentioning.
No, nobody relevant.
No, there are no stars involved in this. I don't know how quickly it's gonna. How quick?
I just want to know how this is going to go. Because if this is a 10-man elimination match, is it going to be just like boom, elimination, one right after another? And how are you going to be able to see anything with just 10 people around the apron? What is the legal tag area? Do you just somebody get Irish whipped and then because there's no room, you tag somebody in? It's weird.
Here it is. Technologically, if there's a match that can benefit from an over-the-ring 360 camera, this is it.
This is the match.
So you just pull out your phone, and you want to see the action? Just move around the room, buddy. Hey, we got PlayStation VR and the Vive. Make use of it somehow. Put those things on. But, okay,
it has to be... wins? I'm going to go with Team Raw on this one. With three... between this, I think Raw is definitely gonna win the tag team one. I'm assuming they're going with the route where if any person from a tag team gets pinned, the entire tag team is out for the sake of time. I feel like that's the way they're going to do it. Otherwise, there's just way too many people you have to eliminate. I just have a feeling Team Raw is going to win this one.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that Team Raw needs it more. That's why they're going to win. Like, if the SmackDown teams lose, whatever, it just goes on being the SmackDown tag team division. It's much more solid than the Raw tag team division, where they can actually use that bump. Like, yeah, they're the winners. There's actually a worthwhile tag team division on this show we have, because right now it's hanging on by a thread. So maybe this gives it a little more of like a ground to move onwards and upwards from. And I would like to see Team Raw get the win based off of that.
Pretty much what you just said. The SmackDown team is solid. You look at the tag team division, you got the Usos, you got such a nice balance, even the comedy tag teams with Slater and the Man Beast. So Raw needs this badly. So that way they can showcase some of the tag teams. And I'm not sure how this is going to go, whether this is going to be an enjoyable match or not. I think it's just going to be finisher fest. People are going to hit their finishing moves.
Everyone will have
right
10
left.
HP.
Pretty much. And bro kicks everywhere. I think Cesaro and Sheamus are definitely going to be the stronger tag team here. And the New Day, that's the part that I'm thinking of. I'm thinking the New Day is not going to be eliminated at all. If anything, I'm almost seeing a scenario where almost all of Team Raw stays the same and Team SmackDown is made to look like crap. Because if you look at Team SmackDown with the Ascension and Breeze and Fandango, the way they usually treat these tag teams, you can totally make a case for them just getting annihilated by Team Raw, even if they are the better division.
With the exception of the Shining Stars, I agree, because they will be the ones that get eliminated.
I hope they don't even make it to the ring.
So where did this hate come from? I feel like I've missed something in the last couple of weeks.
Oh my God.
What corner did you turn?
Here's the real thing. Because, and you're making me go on a Puerto Rico rant. The latest guys that we've had from Puerto Rico are Carlito and the Shining Stars. Yes, Lince Dorado's kind of in there. You technically got some other guys, but the way they're usually showcased, Carlito was like apples and like, you're cool. Okay, then the Shining Stars, pamphlets. Can we just have somebody that's actually cool or badass from Puerto Rico that doesn't need to be, hey, we're from the Caribbean, beaches. And beaches, and that's all apparently in hammocks.
Getting all the beaches.
That's it. So please
I'm not
change
sure
that
if
up.
you know how wrestling works.
No,
but
Ryan.
They
no.
generally like to exploit stereotypes.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Please see Lana and Rusev.
See Becky Lynch's first NXT match.
Ooh, that was rough. That was rough.
Yeah. I mean, Sheamus, they're still really behind the times in that thing, and I completely agree with you though. But I mean, has tourism gone up in Puerto Rico?
Oh,
you
no,
might have
man.
them to thank.
I think if anything, people go like, if Puerto Rico is as good as they are, just in character development, I don't want to have anything to do with that island. Even though we're actually an archipelago, we're not an island. So let's get that out of the way there. Now let's move on.
Good, I'll never remember that.
Enough talk about Puerto Rico there. Show me a map where Canada is. But Survivor Series Women's Elimination Match. So Team SmackDown, captained by Nikki Bella, even though Becky Lynch is in there. And I don't know, she's like the champion and stuff. So like she should maybe, be the captain.
She didn't even get an opportunity to be captain.
What? I didn't hear a word you said, Ryan.
Sorry. It was interesting. I'm pretty sure they did just Natalya versus Nikki Bella. Whoever wins gets to be the captain. It wasn't even like Becky Lynch got the opportunity to.
And then Natalya is like the coach, but we have Becky Lynch, Nikki Bella, Carmella, Alexa Bliss, and Naomi with the coach, which is Natalya. Chumbawamba references. Natalya won me over versus Team Raw. Charlotte, Flair, because they're getting her last name back in there. Bayley, Nia Jax, Alicia Fox, and Sasha Banks. How's your your excitement level for this match, and ultimately who's going to come out victorious?
I think this match is actually going to be really good. I'm curious to see how this match goes. Most of the 3 Survivor Series matches, I think that Team SmackDown is going to be the one that comes out on top here. Almost for the exact opposite reasons of why I chose Team Raw for the Tag Team Division 1. Like, SmackDown just has the much more solid women's division, and you can see them, like, maybe play up the whole contention on Team Raw, like, oh, maybe Charlotte causes Sasha Banks to get eliminated, or something along those lines, or Nia Jax gets herself disqualified, because that's the only way I see Nia Jax getting eliminated from that match. But I think the women of SmackDown come out on top in this one.
I don't want to be all agreeing with Keith and stuff, but I actually really have a feeling too that the SmackDown women's team is going to win this one. I think it's going to be kind of a surprise victory because obviously WWE views Charlotte and Sasha Banks as like the pinnacle of women's wrestling right now. And I think they'll have a way of SmackDown getting a surprise win, even though they are a more fleshed out division for sure. And everyone feels a lot more important as opposed to it just being 2 big players on Raw and then everyone else. So SmackDown, I think, definitely gets the win.
I gotta go with the agreement train simply because if you look at Team Raw, first of all, it was super weird for Bayley to participate in a group beatdown. I feel like that
didn't feel right, man.
Destroys.
It didn't feel right.
And the fact that everybody was already in there, and then she was like the last one to go like, "Oh right," and then she just starts punching. It's like, Bayley, no, what are you doing? No. But there's a lot of disagreement with Team Raw, whereas with SmackDown, I liked, and it's the little details on SmackDown. You get sense like, okay, let's take a break here because the important thing is showing that we are the superior women's division. Now, the big challenge this match has is that we've gotten so many of these matches for women at WrestleMania, at pretty much any show, right? Like huge multi-woman tag team matches. How are they gonna make this different, right? How are they gonna finally step out of that? Multi-people matches usually suck. Not men, not women,
don't
just
have an
generally.
elimination every 15 seconds will go a long way. Because that's usually how this goes. You can even look a couple of years back when there was like AJ Lee versus Team Bella, and it was like boom, 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 over and done with as quick as you can count.
But it's tough.
Well, the thing that's going on this, it's going to be okay. Because remember, this is a 4-hour show. It's Survivor Series is 4 hours plus the pre-show stuff. So get your endurance up because this is going to be a long night, folks. But like assuming one of these matches, I don't know what match is going to be on the pre-show if there even will be a pre-show match, but with 4 hours, every match is really going to have time on their side. So all of these elimination Survivor Series matches have the time to actually develop a good match and not worry about rushing where people are getting pinned over not even finishing moves. You know, people are going down to just regular DDTs and stuff like that. They have a lot of time to actually build up some great elimination tag matches. So I think all of them are at least going to get 20 minutes. Probably some of them, especially the main event one, will probably get a lot more time.
You know what this means? We're just going to need that much more pizza.
We are.
I'm okay with it.
Maybe even an energy drink.
I'm going to eat all of the pizza. Just every bit of it.
We're going to feel like shit on Monday.
Oh, God, so much.
Okay. Let's go with the biggest Survivor Series elimination match. Team Raw versus Team SmackDown Live. Kevin Owens, Jericho, Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins versus Team SmackDown. AJ Styles, Randy Orton, Dean Ambrose, Shane McMahon, and Bray Wyatt. How's your hype level for this one? Based on what happened with Raw Monday night, I got some good vibes. I'll even say love how at the end they totally did the Shield powerbomb, but the fact that it was Raw versus SmackDown, it totally justified it. And even the crowd was like, yeah, man, Reigns. Like, we like that, but it's Reigns has sort of always still been like that in the ring. So it's kind of hypocritical, but
people
what do you guys
pop
think
for the
about
Shield,
this?
man. People pop for the Shield.
Totally. My hype level is through the roof for this one. I think it's going to be a fantastic match. I would say that this would be my match of the night if I were to guess. And yeah, like you mentioned, it's a 4-hour show. I think this match is going to get time. I would be shocked if this match doesn't go or is... If they don't give this match 40 minutes, I will be surprised. That's what I'm trying to say. And I think it's going to be fascinating, especially how they built everybody up. Like, does Braun Strowman just clean house? Like, does he actually get eliminated from this match? How does all of that go? And as far as who's going to win, I think Team Raw is going to win this one, just based off of the whole Undertaker's "if you lose, you gotta deal with the dead man" thing that he did. It kind of, in my mind, it gave it away because it sets up something for the Undertaker going forward. You know, just digging holes and collecting souls on the SmackDown team for losing. And plus, just like the tag team division one, Team Raw needs it just a little bit more.
Yeah, Undertaker kind of was like ultra spoiler for this. Obviously, it seems like now that Team Raw is going to win, and then Undertaker is going to probably feud with like Randy Orton or someone because he's all mad about SmackDown losing. That doesn't take away from the fact that this is going to be an insanely entertaining match. I mean,
it's going to be so
the
good.
The star power in this match is insane. You got Kevin Owens, AJ Styles, Jericho, like all of the Shields, Bray Wyatt, and then you even got Shane McMahon in there and Braun Strowman. It's going to be crazy, and I think it'll be about 35 minutes of just pure wrestling enjoyment. I mean, Survivor Series matches, when they are built properly, are some of the most fun matches you can watch. And we kind of forget that because Survivor Series is kind of up and down in how good it is each year. And, last year's wasn't as hype as the one with, where Sting showed up. And then that was the first good Survivor Series in a while. But this one seems like it's going to be good. It's probably the most hyped I've been going into a Survivor Series in forever. Probably since like early 2000s.
We're doing a lot of things right now to prepare for end of year. We're going to have like a ton of awards. It's going to be like the longest week of like hours upon hours of discussion.
Our lives.
Yeah. And this match has an unbelievable chance of being the match of the year because I know that a lot of people may be going like, yeah, the Cruiserweight Classic, yeah, Nakamura, Zayn. Those are definitely in there as possible contenders. But when you look at what wrestling is, it's about emotion. It's about not the moves. It's about the face-offs, the standoffs, the storytelling. And if they go down the Iron Man match type vibe with this, where it's about survival, where it's about nobody being weak, nobody's going to be the Mike Knox in this match. It better be who is the first person that's going to get eliminated? And it better take like 20 minutes. Like they got to damn near kill each other.
In this match. I think everything that you said is correct.
I
minus
hope you're
Bray
wrong,
Wyatt.
but you're probably going to be right. But if they do it right, every single pinfall, every tag has such a chance to get that emotion. And for those people that no longer believe about the effectiveness of these Survivor Series matches, look at Ziggler when he did that. That match was amazing basically because of him, because they told the story of survival. So if they do this, that's going to be awesome. Now, which team's going to win? I'm actually going to disagree with you guys and say Team SmackDown because I believe Team SmackDown does need that more. And regarding Undertaker, he is totally throwing people away. He is doing that to get people thinking, okay, whatever, who is he going to face off at from Raw for maybe WrestleMania or something? It's going to be John Cena. I'm not going to change my mind about that, but this is going to be the match where I may not be doing a lot of tweeting. That quote, that's going to be a shirt, right? That is totally going to be a shirt.
It has to, and I'll buy 40 of them.
Careful what you say, man. This is being recorded right now.
I know. I don't have to prove I brought 40 of them. I'll just buy 40 of them.
At least we're well for
souls
WrestleMania.
In collect, never mind. I won't finish that.
Oh no!
Whoa.
Exactly. I love the phrase. That phrase for exactly the reason you almost went into, because it sounds exactly like that.
Now here's the match, where if Goldberg is about to be accurate based on what he said, he's not feeling too good. So we got Lesnar versus Goldberg. I don't know if you guys read about this. I did just before the podcast, but apparently his shoulder is not in good shape after the unbelievable amount of action he was through on Monday. But he's saying he should be fine. I'm very concerned about this match, even before that.
Right?
I am so scared of this match because, honestly, after the entrances, there is nothing I actually care about in this match. I hope to be proven so wrong. I want to feel like crap for anything that I'm about to say here, but I don't care about the German suplexes. I don't care about the spears, the jackhammers, or the F5s. I don't care about this match.
I mean, the bar for this match to be the better of the two is so low. Like, it cannot possibly be a worse match than the first time they are faced each other. I hope. But you never know.
The circumstances are a lot different than their first encounter. I think they're both going to put in a ton more effort. So I do have some hope for this match, and I really think it will be better. And I'm just interested to see it happen. I mean, Goldberg, he's an old guy now, hasn't wrestled in a while, so no wonder he's not feeling too great.
Goldberg pushed some security guards and his shoulder is sore. Like, it makes you wonder, like, will Bill Goldberg take a German suplex in this match? That leads me to believe no.
Yes, all you gotta do is, well, I mean, it's gonna hurt, but you just jump and fall backwards, man. I'm sure he'll be able to handle it.
Look at Ryan.
Yeah, this match, I just want them to get through this match smoothly, and that's probably not gonna happen.
Nope.
But it's just gonna be a train wreck that you can't look away from, and hopefully it'll be entertaining. That's all I hope for, and that Brock Lesnar wins. There's nothing to gain from Goldberg winning here. I think we can all pretty much agree that Brock Lesnar will and should win this match.
I don't know. I think you're right, but at the same time, having Goldberg win is such like a WWE move, you know? Like, his whole thing has been, I'm doing it for the kids. He's coming back to be the superhero. So on that, why wouldn't Goldberg win? You know, like, are they going to crush all these child dreams and have Brock Lesnar win?
Yeah, I mean,
Probably
you heard Brock Lesnar before where he's like, I don't give an F about your kids, so there you go.
If
would
the
they
whole
follow
match,
through with that?
Wow. Can you imagine the whole match just being them having that argument? I love kids. F the kids. I love the kids. F the kids.
But Goldberg
I would like that
taking
more.
The first pinfall over Brock Lesnar since he beat the Undertaker's streak is a huge
I'm not
mistake.
saying it's right. I'm not saying it's right at all, but I can totally see it happening.
Regardless of that, it's going to sound weird. The thing that matters about this match the most is not the match, but the audience. Because I think that once that bell rings, if the audience is just crapping on this match, there's very little that I believe they can do to salvage it, because we've seen what Lesnar does now, and Lesnar benefits from really quick athletes. He benefits from even guys like a Rey Mysterio, like an Eddie Guerrero. Lesnar's incredible. This is nothing against him, but with Goldberg, if we go by his track record and by his battle with security guards, it's not going to look pretty, but I got to go with Lesnar for it.
I don't know. I'm feeling Bill Goldberg on this one. I don't like the fact I'm feeling it, but
so you
I honestly think he's going to win.
Lesnar should win. You just don't think he will win.
I agree Lesnar should win, based simply on the fact that Bill Goldberg should not be the first person to pin Brock Lesnar since he broke the Undertaker streak. But the way that they've just been doing this whole thing with the kids and how, like, Brock Lesnar, basically around the kids, and I don't think they'll pull the trigger with that.
It's a tough conversation.
The first legit win over Lesnar just far exceeds anything that they want to do with Goldberg. Keep in mind, the WCW factor is a very real thing.
That it is. So
and probably the only reason Goldberg won over Lesnar at WrestleMania 20 is they were clearly more pissed off at Lesnar for leaving than Goldberg for leaving. So
this is true.
There you go.
I mean, the WCW
is
factor.
Vince's guy.
If we're talking about the WCW factor, that's already been there, done that. Triple H already took care of that years and years ago.
It doesn't just go away.
It's always there.
Just go away. Yeah, it is always there. I mean, I don't even know if Booker T feels like he ever shook that off, and he very much feels like a WWE guy.
You mean King Booker? Let's get it right there.
That's how he had to win it. He had to totally change his gimmick to get the title.
Damn.
You know,
Okay.
it's real, dude. It's a real thing.
Mm-hmm. But I will say, from a academic standpoint, can't wait to see this match. There's going to be no middle ground with it. It is either going to be amazing or it is going to be a absolute train wreck.
I'm predicting, as JR would say, it's going to be bowling shoe ugly. But
yes.
If it's the ugly but super physical match where it really just looks like these guys are just laying it in on each other, it could be super entertaining.
It doesn't need to be this like 5-star classic. Just have two.
It won't be. It
definitely won't be. But just have two giant dudes beat the living hell out of each other, and that's all that match needs to be.
That is Keith's dream.
It is.
Oh,
always.
yeah. Every single week. And folks, if you like the podcast and you want us to see on video, raw, uncut, no editing, you want to see Keith do this, just try to basically interrupt me whenever I'm doing stuff, because that's how we go about things here. Head on over to patreon.com/Byte That. You put in any amount there. You get the support of the podcast. You help us grow. You get that. You get exclusive behind-the-scenes updates. You get early access to some of the stuff that is available on YouTube. We actually have a goal where if we reach it, those of you on the road, you're going to get additional access to things that we've not been able to provide due to server hosting and all that stuff, so you can definitely check that out. We have a lot of stuff happening on the YouTube channel this week. I reviewed a Magnum TA documentary, thanks to the documentary's production team for providing us a copy of it. It's very, very nice. We play Smackdown 1 and play that. Have a really good time. Actually won some matches. I also unboxed the November Pro Wrestling Loot. Actually, they got a James Ellsworth baseball cap that I've been wearing. In fact, I forgot I was wearing it the past 2 days, so I went into Walmart. I'm just wearing it, and you know, you have a no-chin music baseball cap, and you're bound to get some looks, and I forgot about it. But afterwards, I'm just like, man, I'm proud to rep my main man.
How do you forget you're wearing a hat?
Because I don't ever wear baseball caps. This is the first baseball cap I think I've ever owned. So,
well, people would also wonder why it says no chin music on it.
That sounds like the greatest trash metal band, or something.
It does. That, or you just like repping a sick record label.
Oh my god, that's got to be a song.
Yeah. Well, in the logo also, it has the skull for like the O right on the hat.
Yeah. So
and that's
totally.
actually. It's actually like the Offspring logo, because apparently the tattoo he has is like the Offspring's.
From the Offspring.
Yeah. So that's kind of cool, although I don't know if he's going to have some copyright issues with that. I don't know.
Well, keep in mind, Pro Wrestling Loot, they do that stuff on the side there, but definitely check them out. They actually give us a shout out on social media and on Facebook and all that, so check out that unboxing. We also have a video coming out this Friday, because next week is Thanksgiving, so maybe on the podcast we sort of talk about eating a lot of food and what we're thankful for on this platform. But this Friday we talk about things that we're thankful for in the WWE in 2016. So specifically this year, what are we proud of? We give a top 5, and I think that many people will be in agreement. This is a list we took a little bit of time to write because, you know, some negative things are happening this year, but a lot of good things are happening. So let's thank that. And Mr. McNulty, you know, we are thankful. a lot.
Absolutely, we are
Right?
thankful.
Transition.
And we are very thankful to our Patreons. And this week, we'd like to thank... What was that? Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're
All right, let's reel it back in here. We are very thankful. We're thankful for our Patreons, including USC Punk and Derek Wilson. Thank you guys so much for the support. We really appreciate it. If you'd like to get a shout out and some other cool stuff, you can check out patreon.com/Byte That.
Thank you guys so much. We love you. Ryan, just got a quick question because we're going to get to NXT. This is the longest. Usually by now we're almost done recording. So
Yes.
this is a packed episode of the
Announcements
podcast.
1 hour in. It's pretty crazy.
New record. I don't think that's actually ever happened. Most it has been is like 45 minutes or something. Can you give us your quick impressions on the WWE Slam Crate? You got that 2 weeks ago. You posted the unboxing on the channel, but I know that some people sent us tweets asking, is it worth it? So, Ryan, is it worth it?
So the Slam Crate I got was the first one, appropriately titled The First, and I did enjoy it. But as I said in the video and just up front, I'm not like a huge collectible guy. So I did appreciate the items. I got a cool End Zone Cast t-shirt. I got a Mitch the Plant, like an actual like bonsai tree that I can plant. I still have to do that. I got some Sasha Banks like stunner shades. And I figured out that they gave me a Winged Eagle title pin. So I didn't know what the hell it was because it didn't say what it was on it, but it turns out it's a pin. You look so
confused in the video.
Yeah, mystery solved on that. So it is a pretty good value. It is $30, but you don't get it monthly. You pay $30 every other month for a crate. I'm probably not gonna get another one just because I'm not a huge collectible guy, but I think it's a decent value for what you get. So it's really up to what the type of stuff you like, because the stuff you open one has a lot of like autographs and stuff like that, and this one doesn't have that kind of really personalized items.
Yeah,
so if you really want more, this is more for like additional exclusive WWE merch, more so than getting autographs and things like that.
So yeah, if anybody gets it, let us know. If you care about it, we'll retweet the pictures that you guys get in the crates, because I know some things do come in autographed or not. I know that Austin Aries NXT card you got, some people got it autographed. So Ryan, they just didn't like you.
I have to actually check if mine's autographed then. I don't think it was.
Yeah, based on the video, I think they just didn't like you, so they didn't sign it. But
damn,
I don't blame them.
Wow, we're just absolutely mean
Austin
to Ryan
Aries?
right now.
Austin Aries, he just made the list for me at least.
Oh my god. I'm curious later on. Ryan, for Christmas, write a list. What's on it? We'll find out then.
Check it twice.
Gonna find out.
I don't need more things to do, man. Why are you throwing this at me?
NXT Takeover is coming to Toronto. Damn, speaking of Canada this episode, yeah. We got NXT Takeover Toronto happening. I'm super psyched for it. Keith has, for the most part, caught up, I believe, on NXT. Ryan, I know you're just super up to date on NXT.
Oh, yeah. Right up to date.
I know you have that NXT tattoo in your left butt cheek, so I'm super happy to hear.
I do have an iron-on patch from the Slam Crate, so I can iron it onto my shirt, so everybody knows how caught up I am on NXT.
Yeah. So here we go, guys. I'm really looking forward to the show. And I need to scroll down because I totally don't see where the card is. There we go. Okay. So we have Bobby Roode taking on the Perfect 10, Ty Dillinger. Canadian versus Canadian. We got Team Canada in NXT almost. Let's do Keith, myself, and then maybe Ryan at the end. So no,
if you have anything to add.
No, I'm doing it. I'm honestly doing it this way so Ryan can get some context between you and me. So maybe that can help him out.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. You guys got my back.
While this match, it should be a good match, and glorious jokes aside, this just seems like, this is the one-on-one opener that they've kind of formulaically put into every NXT takeover. I think Bobby Roode will win this one, because, I don't know, the more I see of Ty Dillinger, the more like, or the less entertained I am by him. There's always this thing that happens in NXT when guys start moving up the roster where their gimmick almost gets lost in translation, where they start becoming less about the gimmick and more about them themselves, and it's not actually always like a benefit. It super happened with Bayley, and near the end of her run, I don't know if I liked Bayley anymore in NXT, and I think the exact same thing is happening to Ty Dillinger, and I'm not that big of a fan. I just like Bobby Roode more, and I hope he wins. Glorious joke insert here.
You know, you made an excellent point about that. Because the moment that they started this feud, the whole Perfect 10 thing went away. Because the whole thing was, why are you a Perfect 10? Then it just became personal. But then you can't forget about what got you there, which was basically a chant and a piece of paper with a 10 written on it. But I'm a pretty big fan of him. Despite that, I believe Bobby Roode is going to win. And we're definitely going to see Ty Dillinger either on Raw or SmackDown because he's got nothing to do in NXT. I don't think he's ever going to win the title. So what's he doing there, right? Either you put him in the main show or you send him down to oblivion. Pretty much. I don't think there's anything else about that you can talk about.
I'm going to go with Bobby Roode. It seems like, at least from the takeovers I've watched, they kind of treat Ty Dillinger like a job guy, and Bobby Roode is still kind of like a guy they're building up. So it really
has definitely moved up since the last takeover, but I don't think it's been enough.
Well, I'm sure they had to build him up to be a credible threat to Roode. Obviously, still feel like Roode will win.
So up next, we have the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic Finals. This is totally not what we predicted. We predicted these two teams would be gone like early on. Not sure if that's a bad thing or a good thing. We'll find out now. The Authors of Pain versus TM61. And Paul Ellering, the Authors of Pain's manager, is going to be banned from ringside and maybe even suspended from a cage based on just the little comments that they've made.
Right.
I'm not sure what's going to actually end up happening here, but it has something to do with the Crash Cage that came out like at the beginning of the year. They put out this NXT action figure set with the NXT Crash Cage. Check it out at NXT Takeover. And people just got very confused. Like, what? This is January. We haven't seen any of that. But I'm very happy this match is happening. I'd say that. And I'll fully attest that to last week's NXT. Ryan, if you want to enjoy NXT Takeover, I can honestly say this is full serious. And anybody watching, if you want to enjoy TakeOver, watch last week's episode. I don't know if this week's is going to get you up to speed more, but it totally sold me on the Authors of Pain, who for the longest time I felt nothing about, but now I feel something.
Yep, I'm 100% with you on that, where up until last week, the Authors of Pain were just like, oh, okay, that's two big guys. I really like Paul Ellering, but it is what it is. But their match with DIY last week just sold me on it. I think it's more from DIY, but they were still able to hang with that. And as far as this match goes, well, I could not have predicted this being the finals of the Tag Classic in a million years. Now that it's here, I'm actually happy to see it. I really like the subtle story that they're building with it, because now correct me if I'm wrong, because I might be wrong here, but the Authors of Pain have not lost a match. And TM61 were the first people they faced in NXT after their debut. So now they're doing this full circle thing that TM61 may actually be the first people to defeat the Authors of Pain. And now if you remove Paul from the equation, does he have enough of an authority over them that him being out is what causes them to lose? It's a very interesting story that they've built around it, and I love it. And going off of what I just said, I think TM61 are going to win the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic.
I'll see it right now. Keith's argument to this match is why I am once again fully on the NXT train. They were off the rails for a little while. For like 2 to 3 months, NXT was struggling hard. But in the past couple of weeks, they've gotten it. And it's classic storytelling. It's simple storytelling. And I agree.
It's almost a you build your own story. You figure it out as you go. They haven't made mention of everything I just said once. but that's the story I've made for myself. And that's the big difference between NXT and the WWE product and why I enjoy NXT, even during the rough period.
And if there's something that they've actually mastered, is that they're able to do something, completely ignore it for a while, but then when they go back to it, it makes sense why they didn't tell you. It's because they don't want to oversaturate you. They want to be able to, they won. Guess what? This entire road just happened, so a new chapter is about to begin now. So TM6 won. They need this win because the Authors of Pain, the fact that Paul Ellering is going to be banned from ringside, they can totally play to that. But TM6 1 has lost a lot of matches, and they need this win. They need a little bit more personality. Honestly, I think that they're very solid in the ring, but so is pretty much all of the NXT roster. But I'm going to go with TM6 1.
You know what, guys? You have no idea what you're talking about. Authors of Pain are totally winning this match, man. Because reasons.
All right.
It's true. I mean, hey, you can't argue with reasons. That's probably the best argument. So, up next, we got the 2 out of 3 falls match for the NXT Tag Team titles. This is the match.
Oh, brother.
Man, we need more pizza.
Brother.
We're going to be so full of pizza on Saturday. Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, DIY, taking on the Revival. Oh, I can just make grunty noises for this as predictions.
Oh my God, you and me both. I think I'm probably setting myself, my expectations are so high for this match. I'm probably setting myself up for disappointment.
No, you would not be disappointed, and you know you won't. With these teams, you will not be disappointed.
Oh my God, they are
This
going to
is a rematch
tear.
from the previous takeover, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they tore the roof down in a 1 fall match. Give them 2 more falls. Oh my God. And to kind of start with the point that I made about the Authors of Pain and DIY's match from last week's NXT, man, DIY just frickin' gets it. They, more than any other team, I will say that they have mastered tag team wrestling. The thing that separates them from everybody else, in my opinion, is the sequences that they create. It's not just, oh, here's cool move after cool move. Everything they do is like kind of goes towards an overall sequence, and they just make everything look so damn cool. And they're going to give us 2 out of 3 falls of that, and the Revival are their best opponents, in my opinion. So they're just giving us this perfect scenario of just pure awesomeness. Awesomeness. And I think that DIY wins this one. I've probably said this for the last few takeovers, but eventually the Revival has to go up, right? And is there a better time than right now? But God, if this is going to be their send-off match, it's going to be beautiful.
And Keith's gonna need a new pair of pants afterwards.
Oh God, I'm gonna need
you and me both, buddy.
Something's gonna be out like it would be for Harambe, if you know what I mean.
Oh my God. I'm just soaking this in. I'm just drinking this in, man.
How do you follow that
there's
one?
not much I can really say right now other than I 100% agree. I'm going to miss the Revival. This is it. This has got to be it. The Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic did an excellent job of not just building up these last 2 teams for the finals, Authors of Pain and TM6-1. They told you, okay, we got teams. And the Revival, they will be missed. But NXT has gone through a huge drought this year, and they overcame that. So DIY is going to be the top tag team. The Revival are going to have an unbelievable send-off match. Everybody wins, and DIY wins.
Oh, it's going to be so good.
So good.
Holy moly. Oh.
Well, yeah, I agree with you guys. DIY, I was a big fan of their first encounter on the first takeover that the last takeover rather. So I'll go with DIY. It seems appropriate. And I guess you guys are thinking that the Revival are going to get called up pretty soon. It's looking like that?
Yeah.
I mean, they're more than ready.
Oh,
one might say they go hard.
They go
all day, all
hard,
night.
all day, all night. And we go from hard to hardcore country.
Oh, I'm so excited for the return of hardcore country. It's gonna be so
she
good.
better come out to hardcore country. I know that was her theme song in TNA, but Mickie James has got to come out to hardcore country. NXT
no
Women's
other
title match.
Acceptable theme.
Asuka the insanely undefeated. Wow. It is props to NXT for being able to just do this for so long. Undefeated Asuka is a freaking beast. Takes on Mickie
It's
James.
Asuka. Please stop saying Asuka.
Asuka. Really? I can swear I've been saying Asuka. Asuka. Okay, I totally just proved my point. Okay, I proved your point right. So everybody, wait for it. Asuka. Did I say it right?
Yay, yes. You did it.
Okay, Keith, talk to us about Asuka.
No! That was trolling. That was definitely a troll. Okay.
I don't know. Like, hardcore country aside, I'm honestly not feeling that much for this match. I think of all of the different divisions and stuff going on in NXT, I think the women's division has been the one that's suffered the most from call-ups and this kind of NXT drought that's been going on. And this match doesn't really do much for me. I have no doubt it'll be a great match, and Asuka's probably going to win. Asuka's probably going to win.
So it seems to me, from an outsider's perspective, that there's no one quite on Asuka's level.
Not
so
even
agrees.
Asuka's kind of in a league in her league of her own here.
They're pulling a big name out of the weeds to give her a formidable opponent. And it's kind of cool that we're seeing a name from the past in the women's division, because that doesn't happen too often. You see guys from the Attitude Era show up all the time in come back to WWE for matches, but it's not too often we get some of the women to show up. So this is pretty cool, because we haven't seen Mickie James in WWE for quite a while. So I'm definitely looking forward to this. I actually saw Mickie James at not a house show, but an indie show about a year and a half ago, and she still looked good. So, I'm sure it'll be a great match.
We totally got to do karaoke night next year and sing that duet, Keith, you and me, and then Ryan's just going to dress like Mickie James. It's going to be glorious.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
No, not
Ryan and those
dreamings.
Oh my God, I don't think you got the booty for that, Ryan. But I'm gonna go here,
or the legs,
or the legs. Okay.
No one wants to see a dude with pale white hairy legs in some short shorts. All right.
We
that's
apologize.
Some hardcore country.
We apologize. That is some hardcore country.
Maybe on Byte That After Dark you'll see that, but you'll regret it. Trust me.
Okay,
the show's getting weird, guys.
Okay, I believe Asuka is gonna win. Okay, here we go. Asuka's gonna win. I kind of hope, and I don't think it'll happen, but I hope this is kind of like the SummerSlam encounter between Cena and Lesnar, where they're building this up like it's gonna be a back and forth match. Asuka just destroys Mickie James. Mickie James should not get that much offense here. If Asuka has been just pummeling down every woman in her path, why should somebody that hasn't wrestled, quote unquote, because outside of the WWE, maybe it doesn't work too much. She hasn't been in WWE in years. Why is she the one to dethrone Asuka? I don't think that's going to happen. Who does? I know that they're trying to do something with Billie Kay and Peyton Royce. It's not working for me. I'm not feeling it yet. They're doing this BFF thing like with Summer Rae and all that in the past, but I believe that Asuka will remain undefeated.
Agreed. I mean, she's already got this perception of that she's in a complete league of her own. Why not just keep on building to that by destroying Mickie James?
Yeah, I agree she'll win. What happened to that Ember Moon chick? Is she doing anything?
Oh, she's totally going to be the one to take the title off, though.
So she's been building on the side?
Yeah. Apparently, they had a match on one of the NXT live events that tore the house down. And there's actually a recording of that somewhere. So maybe wait for it, because that would be good for us. Could they stall until WrestleMania weekend? Because I do think they should do that.
Well, that's the next takeover, right?
They can easily fit somewhere.
Are they doing one with the Royal Rumble?
I think they are. If I'm not mistaken, I think they are. Regardless, they need to make Asuka a heel now. Like a definite, nobody's not only beating me, like this is it. I'm never losing the title, and then Ember Moon dethrones her, and that's going to be a badass match, and we're going to be there live for it. WrestleMania weekend's going to be badass. So here we go, NXT title match. Samoa Joe, Shinsuke Nakamura Whew, this is gonna be. They're gonna be hurting the night after. I know that much.
Oh,
regardless of who wins.
This is going to just be physical. I mean, in their last match, they just beat the hell out of each other, and I don't see this being that much different. Nakamura is probably going to win because I'm going to make the prediction that he goes undefeated until he loses the title, and I don't think this night is that night. So
bright
Nakamura
lights, etc.
Everybody get down.
For me, I got to go with Nakamura. I just don't see a scenario where he loses now. And if I go by my prediction between Rude and Dillinger, Samoa Joe should not get the title back because eventually he's going to be called up to the main roster. Dare I even say SmackDown, even if it's after WrestleMania. I just don't think that he should do that. That being said, I'm not a huge fan, and I know it's going to sound weird at first. I'm not a huge fan that Asuka and Nakamura basically have the same character because when you go down to it, they're the same person. They wrestle a very similar style, and it's not that that's bad, but I never like in wrestling when you have a lot of the same type of people as the champions. I like variety.
I think it has a lot to do, like that's been a big contributor to the NXT rut that has happened recently. The fact that they're very close to the same person, you're basically getting the same thing going on with the major parts of the show.
Yeah,
and that they're both undefeated. So, I mean, undefeated streaks, as cool as they are, can sometimes limit what you can do.
I mean, look at all of NXT. Like, they kind of have a problem with undefeated people. Like, the author, 3 out of, not counting, I guess, like 3.5 out of 5 matches have undefeated people in it because Bobby Roode hasn't lost in a singles match, right? His only loss happened to the Dusty Tag Team. Yeah, the walkout. So that half counts. The Authors of Pain are undefeated. Asuka's undefeated. Nakamura's undefeated. Almost everybody on this card or in a match is undefeated. It's kind of crazy.
It's bad.
Yeah,
and good.
so I'm definitely looking forward to this match because I know their last one kind of got messed up because Joe started like bleeding and it really threw off the whole pace of the match. So hopefully there's no interruptions on this encounter and it'll be a lot more enjoyable. And yeah, Joe, I mean, they got to put Joe on the main roster soon, right? So, I mean, I think they want Nakamura to anchor NXT.
I don't think right now's that time. I think Joe...
I mean, Nakamura is essentially the new Finn Balor of NXT. He's the one he's the flag bearer. So Joe, at least, will hopefully have a chance to come up to the main roster sometime soon.
I believe it'll be after WrestleMania, but they're grasping at straws. NXT, I think this is going to be awesome. I think that the takeover for WrestleMania weekend hype is going to be great. Not just once again because we're going, but it's leading up to many big last matches. It's going to be the last match of Samoa Joe before the main roster, the last match of maybe Asuka, of maybe like so many guys, because it's the perfect time. It's the peak. It's the climax of the movie there. Everybody listening, this has been probably one of the longest episodes. We are not done because we got a lot of questions from you guys, but definitely send us tweets or comments on Facebook or Instagram. Give us your predictions for Survivor Series, for NXT TakeOver. We'll make sure to retweet throughout. We'll be tweeting during the shows. And something that we got to last week where we got a question from somebody related to bad WWE jokes. And shout out to you, my friend.
I want to ask you about this. What the hell happened? Why is this a thing?
Okay, so I'm taking out the agenda for last week because the question was from Collector 9000. So
I leave you guys for 1 week. I leave you guys alone for 1 week, and this is what happens.
It's your fault. It's your fault that we go down to bad WWE jokes. But shout out to Collector, huge fan of the show, supporter. We actually got a couple of bad jokes that, honestly, if I laugh, I mean, I laugh at myself. So I'm probably not a good measuring stick for this, but I found these a couple of these funny. So who's going to be the one to tell the first joke?
I'll do it. I will bear this burden.
Okay, you go down with the jokes, Ryan. You take the whole.
So mad
shebang.
at you guys right now.
Okay, all right. Let's see. Why is Triple H Cartman's favorite wrestler?
Okay, Ryan, you get the delivery man. You gotta. The energy has got to be
All
there.
right, okay.
Who
Okay.
sent
Credit
us
the
this
person.
joke?
This is from Gene the Man, by the way. Why is Triple H Cartman's favorite wrestler?
Why?
Because Cartman respects his authority or authoritas.
Okay, Ryan.
That was terrible delivery. I'm sorry.
Come on,
okay.
man.
I'll make up for it. Okay, we got what is this? Arachnorophobic? That's a hard one to pronounce. What would Brock Lesnar's apartment complex be named?
What?
Duplex City.
Oh!
It hurts so bad.
Oh, we actually
Okay,
got a
here's
follow
the-
up. We got a follow up to that.
Really?
No, it's right there from Fat Perlo, aka Cameron H on Twitter. He responded to that one, adding that he would have room 5F. Okay, Keith, if you've been hurting, Ryan, this one's a doozy.
I don't know if I can even go through with this one. It's like there's a bit of a leap for this joke, but all right, you know what? I'll just hate myself. It's fine. All right, this is from Joby394. Why does Sasha Banks carry an umbrella?
Why?
Faux drizzle because Snoop Dogg, right, guys? Because Snoop Dogg.
Real talk, I think that one wins. In terms of bad jokes, that one wins.
Yeah, for a bad joke, there's kind of like if you need to explain a joke to someone, chances are it's not too great.
So he
But
wins.
there was But hey, Keith, what did Kevin Nash say when he crashed his ATV?
What's that?
My quad. I love that one. I love that
I
one.
one's
love
not
some
bad.
bad jokes.
I think we're done.
Okay, can I at least do this Hulk Hogan one? And we can finish this with a happy smile. Keith.
Go for
what
it.
did Hulk Hogan ask in arts and abs?
what?
And okay, what did Hulk Hogan ask in arts and crafts class?
What did he ask?
What you gonna glue, brother? What
done.
you gonna glue? What you gonna glue? You can check out jokesforus.com/miscellaneous jokes/corporate
If you wanna torture yourself.
/WWE Jokes.html. You probably did not make out a word I said there, but this was look up bad WWE jokes online. We got those last ones there.
You gave the full hyperlink. Like someone was so excited to find these jokes that they got out a pen and
collaborating for
paper.
this.
They're like, "Oh, I better write these down. Can't miss more of these."
http:// make sure to open up your Internet Explorers, kids, because you're gonna need to write this down. God damn it.
Oh,
This
my
is what
head
happens.
hurts.
This is what happens when I miss a week.
It is what
I
happens,
can never miss
Keith.
a week again.
We got a ton of awesome questions, though. Thank you guys for participating. We're as a goal for 2017, we definitely want to get more things like this involved, not just to hurt Keith's noggin, but honestly, getting you guys
But
involved is
mainly
awesome.
to hurt Keith's noggin.
Yes, okay, real talk. Yes, that's about 90% of the battle.
Hashtag blame Keith.
But keep the questions coming for the podcast. Byte That Cast on Twitter with the hashtag AskBT. Every Thursday, every Wednesday, I forgot when we recorded all of a sudden, on Facebook at around 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Keith, it's going to be okay, buddy. On Facebook, you can leave a comment with a question. On Instagram, we make it very accessible, as well as bytethatcast@gmail.com. We got a couple of them there. The benefit is that you can be a little bit more specific about that, as well as letting us know. Wow, that bad WWE jokes thing messed me up. Letting us know where you are from. There we go. I got through
There we
that.
go.
Keith, please take it away with the questions, man.
All right, we're almost there, baby. We're almost there. Home stretch. All
We're
right.
at the home stretch.
So our first question this week comes in from Peter D, which is a lovely, lovely, lovely patron supporter of ours.
Lovely.
And they give us a little tidbit. Before I go into this tidbit, I just remembered, Ryan,
Yes.
work on your impression of me from last week.
Oh,
because it was bowling shoe ugly.
oh,
Really?
yeah.
Either
You
go
got
big-
some. You
All
got
right,
some.
man.
So
You
go
got some
big,
flack.
go big or go home, baby girl. Go big or
Well,
go
I mean,
home.
you said you're not planning on missing any other shows, so
True.
maybe I don't need to work on it.
Start collecting souls and digging holes. So Peter D says, "Aloha, guys.
Aloha.
I wanted to weigh in and give you guys my opinion about the ongoing argument of too much wrestling going on right now. So I just got back into wrestling, the WWE specifically, about 3 years ago, and I have never enjoyed it more. I feel that is because I watch it online and on my own terms. For starters, I live in Hawaii, and if you haven't guessed yet, when I get home from work, Raw and SmackDown are already over because of the time difference. Raw is usually 2 hours and 15 minutes long, and SmackDown is around 20 minutes long online. And that right there is the key. It's just so much easier to consume. I don't know how you guys can watch for 3 hours with commercials and all.
Ugh.
Plus, whenever Stephanie McMahon is on screen, I can just fast forward 20 minutes and I miss nothing.
That sounds so
and
good.
I can do that for the whole show. Apollo Crews versus Kalisto? Skip. Heard Hawkins talking? Skip. Rich Swann coming out and dancing? Rewind and watch 50 times. All right.
Yeah,
You're
now
treading
we're
some
talking.
dangerous ground there. I get all the best parts in this easy digestible time frame, and the best part is that I control it. I encourage you all to try it. Thanks for being the highlight of my week. Peter D, I think you are on to the right idea. More and more, I realize that is the way to go. It's almost... See, as wrestling fans that have been watching it for as long as we have, we've almost developed an unbreakable habit where we feel the need to watch it live, consume it as the conversation's going. But there is definitely a ton of merit in the way that you consume wrestling. And as the shows get worse and worse, it seems like the way to go.
Real talk, in my case, I'm kind of obligated to do this in a way, especially for Raw. In his case, he's talking after work. In my case, sometimes I got to get up at 5 a.m. on Tuesday for work. And the issue is that Raw now ends at midnight for me due to the time zone change because Puerto Rico doesn't change our clocks. I recorded the podcast an hour later now as a result. So on Mondays, I cannot justify staying up till midnight when I got to get up at 5, or sometimes I got to get up at, around that time. So I just watched the last hour in clips, or I got to maybe tune out a little bit earlier. But generally speaking, the YouTube highlights on WWE's very own YouTube channel are good enough that I don't even need to see anything else between the top 10s that they do for every episode and all that stuff. It's just a matter of what Keith said. We're creatures of habit, right? That even though you can watch it in some sort of way, breaking a 10-plus year habit is kind of hard at times.
Yeah, I mean, Peter, I give you a lot of credit. You've kind of made it your own for how you want to consume WWE, and that's great. And I think a lot of people should do that. Find what works for you. The thing with myself personally is that because of just work and the hours and I have a pretty long commute, there's really no other, the most efficient way for me to consume WWE is to just watch it live. Because, I'll watch it, go to work. When I come home, I only got maybe an hour of time before SmackDown comes on, watch that. And then the next day, as soon as I get home from work, I'm doing the podcast. So there's not a lot of room there for me to kind of just consume it in other ways, unless I just watched, I guess I could watch all the YouTube clips, but I like to kind of get a feel for the entire flow of the show. And that's just my personal preference to it. Even if maybe it gives me more of an excuse to complain, I guess. Maybe I like to complain about it, but
these
it's
smarks.
Yeah,
Right.
I know, right? It just, this way works for me. In a world where I'm not doing a podcast, I would probably take your route. I think it's a great way to consume it.
It's a good way to go. So thank you for the tidbit. Our next question comes in from Marco S., who asks, what would the WWE be without Canadians?
That may
A wonderful
be...
place.
Wow, whoa. That's
Just had
a
to take
really
a shot
serious
at Keith.
question, though. Initially, when you read it, it's kind of like, okay, but then Jericho, Bret Hart,
Sami Zayn,
Kevin
Owens.
And that's just talking about some of the recent guys.
Bobby
I mean,
Roode.
Stevie Richards and that other iteration of Stevie Richards. Chris Benoit.
Wait,
I'm talking about Chris Benoit.
Okay. All right. I got you. Edge, Christian. Like, there have been a lot of significant Canadians in the WWE.
The Mountie.
Right?
Oh, my God.
Yes.
Life without
the
Mountie.
I think the best thing we could say
Jacques
is they would...
Rougeau.
They'd be a lot worse off because there's been a ton of legendary figures to come out of Canada.
Yeah, honestly.
Shocker.
Yeah, wrestling without Canadians. It sounds weird saying it like that, but it's true. Wrestling without
the
Canadians
Hart family.
would not be it.
Tyson Kidd, Natalia, everyone who's trained in the Hart Dungeon, Lance Storm. There's so many names.
And so many of these guys have become trainers. Even Lance Storm has trained guys like Tyler Breeze. So it's not even just the guy, but the guy has trained so many people. Exactly. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, big shocker. Things that happen in Canada are awesome. I'm not surprised by it. And we're always left making your American things better. This is just another example. So thank you for the question. Our next one comes in from Liam V, another beautiful, beautiful patron supporter of ours, who asks, what's the worst theme music in wrestling? You know, the stuff that hits and makes you cringe. For him, it's Dude Love and JBL's theme. They just don't make the cut.
Okay, just to clarify.
JBL's theme's awesome.
Is amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
JBL's
That's
theme.
awesome. But before we actually answer, when we say worst, is it worst in like the right to censor annoying, or worst as in you hear it and your body has a natural reaction to either the wrestler or what's about to happen? What is worst for you guys?
I don't know. I would define worst theme as a theme that just doesn't work well or fit with the wrestler.
Exactly, because even like in the right to censor or way that you mentioned, Juan, like there's almost merit for a theme being so bad in that way that it builds up the character. Yeah. Like you hear the right to censor theme and you think, oh my God, it's right to censor. Like that helps them.
Yeah. Worst themes, Cesaro's theme is still bad.
Ooh, that's up there.
They really, really need to change it. I also, the Wade Barrett theme before his last theme.
Oh, you mean the Coors theme?
Yeah,
with 2 R's.
The whatever. I don't care anymore. Or whatever. I just thought that was downright awful.
That one too. I forgot about that.
I don't care what you think of me. That one.
Yeah, I just thought that one was terrible. Did not fit Wade Barrett at all.
Wade Barrett's he's had the highest highs and the lowest lows when it comes to themes. Because he had We Are One, the Nexus's theme, and then he had that one.
Nia Jax has got to be there, because I don't get how that theme is still there.
That doesn't fit her at all.
She's not like most girls.
Dude, come on.
That's bull butter.
I'm thinking of more. I'm trying to stay contemporary, because if you go down memory lane.
No, she's a force of greatness. She's not like most girls. It works.
Another worst theme has got to be Heath Slater right now, because it's
still
reworking.
Says 3-man band.
But at the beginning it says I'm just one man. And then I don't know if they changed that on this week's SmackDown. I didn't pay attention to that part. But up until recently, it's been I'm just one man, and then we're a 3-man band. But then he comes out with Rhino.
For a 2-person tag team.
So bad, so good.
Yeah,
though.
it's up there.
I like the theme. It just they need to edit it really bad.
Agreed. I don't know. There's nothing really that comes to mind for me in this one, just because I do my best to see the merit in everything.
I will say, Stephanie McMahon's theme at the beginning of Raw is damn near enough to get me to change the channel.
Yeah. But
I'd
even that works
that.
for her. Like, welcome to the Queendom, where the kings bow down. You're like, oh, Stephanie McMahon.
The problem is I don't feel welcome in the Queendom. I feel like, hey, you're about to get tortured in the Queendom.
Because you're supposed to bow down. That's how it works there. Didn't you watch WrestleMania? It's not a good place.
True.
All right. So thank you for the question. Our next one comes in from Cody E., who asks, What is your favorite Undertaker moment, whether it be return, match, etc.? Growing up, The Undertaker was always my favorite character from late 90s till present day. My favorite match has been a toss-up for years between The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels at Hell in a Cell 97 or the violent steel cage match between Undertaker and Batista when their feet both hit the ground at the same time.
Taker's a tough one for me. In terms of matches...
To me, I mean, I agree with Cody on this one. The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Hell in a Cell. I mean, when we were talking about the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view a couple weeks ago, I was saying how the first Hell in a Cell match is still the best one. And even though everyone will always remember Foley, Mankind going off the cell, as far as a straight-up Hell in a Cell match, I don't think anything beats Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels. It pretty much had everything.
Yeah, I think Taker's a guy, kind of like I mentioned with Lesnar, he benefits from guys that have a different style. And I forget if we brought this up in a roundtable or on the podcast, but we talked about this where Taker at the very beginning, I mean, that Hell in a Cell match, people overlook it so much, and that's the best one. If you want to see a Hell in a Cell match in its entirety, in its purest form and highest potency, you got to check that out. It's so good, and it sells both characters. And Shawn Michaels is like the pretty boy, the sexy boy, but then he gets gritty in that match. It's a nasty match. It's a bloody match. It's a great match. And he's not your boy, Toy Keith. So I got to go with that. That's a really great match for Taker.
Yeah, I mean, while you were talking, I was thinking of great Undertaker matches that come to mind. Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, as you mentioned, the end of an era Hell in a Cell match between him and Triple H, the Hell in a Cell match he had with Edge, all great matches, all Hell in a Cell matches now that I'm thinking about it. His one with Brock Lesnar is definitely up there as well, the first one, not the second one from last year. But as far as favorite Undertaker moment goes, even though the match was disappointing, the lead up to WrestleMania 20 with him and Kane, with The Undertaker returning, all of those vignettes, the whole bring in the chair thing, and how like The Undertaker's was moving the ring and stuff with Kane. It was all very, very badass, and I love it. It has a very special place in my heart. The match sucked, but whatever.
It was awesome after getting the American Badass Undertaker for a few years, to get the Dead Man coming back was super exciting. So I mean, that's definitely up there.
Indeed.
And he had that weird hair length. Like
oh, go ahead.
No, I was saying when he came back at WrestleMania 20, like his hair had just not fully grown out yet, so he kind of had it wasn't quite there yet.
I know that this is not the popular Taker, but I did like the American Badass, like around the Jeff Hardy ladder match. We was talking like, go climb the ladder, kid, make yourself famous. I love the idea that the character of the Undertaker then, and that was over 10 years ago, was like this legacy character. Like, you got to prove to me that you're worth it. Even when John Cena had his match in a pay-per-view, his debut match with Kurt Angle, afterwards, Taker's like, he's the champion. He's going over to John Cena. Like, those little moments, not a lot of wrestlers can do that, and you get like, okay, of course, like, you're the guy to do that. You're the guy to
He's
go
the
to...
gatekeeper.
Yeah, exactly. And that was over 10 years ago.
And that was then. And the guy's still going.
Insane. So if it's not just about a match, I would definitely go for those moments that he had with young up-and-comers like that.
Indeed. So thank you for the question. Our next one comes in from Vikash P., who asks, WWE has a lot of illegal moves. Which one is your favorite? Personally, mine is a poison mist or a kendo stick using a crossface using a kendo stick. There we go.
My favorite illegal move is probably the pile driver. You don't see it too often.
Yeah.
It's a very dangerous move, so I totally understand why they don't do it, and I don't think they should do it either. But damn, did I not mark out? Damn if I didn't mark out when CM Punk did it to John Cena during that match before WrestleMania 29, I believe.
Yes.
But yeah, that move, it's just when it hits, it just looks so devastating because it's pretty freaking dangerous. And yeah.
I'm going to be honest. There's just nothing better than a clean, straight shot to the dick.
But a kick makes it so much better, like Taker style.
Oh, it does. Just that little bit of wind up. Yeah, like the Undertaker just hoofing Brock Lesnar right in the suplex city. Just
that's a
nothing
specialty
better.
now.
No, I think those are the duplex cities, actually.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
the
kick
F
to
and
the nuts,
F5.
man. They're the best. Not to you.
Yeah.
And not that I've ever...
Yeah, I was going to say, oh, really? They're great, huh?
Real talk. Have you guys ever kicked or punched somebody in the nuts?
I haven't, but I've definitely purposely let people just like wind up and hoof me as hard as they could.
What?
Why?
Do you have some sort of thing going on that we don't know about?
Well, we can talk about that later, but I don't know. Like growing up, I'm from the Jackass era, right? Like Jackass was a big thing while I was in junior high. So when you see videos of dumb children attaching a rope to a bicycle and the other end to a giant tree, I was that kid. We used to do like kick each other as hard as we can in the nuts challenges where you'd wind up and do like a full
don't try this at home, kids.
Don't do it. Trust me, I'm way worse off for it.
Like anybody. Keith, how did it feel?
Oh, it's just worse. It's the worst. It feels like, you know, when you're having a really bad stomach flu and you can feel your stomach just turning in just pain. That's what it feels like.
Why?
Surprisingly, the whole like, oh, your voice goes really high thing doesn't really happen. That was the biggest revelation for me.
Wow.
But I don't recommend
Vaughn, what's your favorite move?
Kick to the nuts has got to be mine. It really does have to be it. I'm never a fan of whenever they do the low blow with like the uppercut kind of thing because it looks so crappy. But
you just got to exaggerate it though, because it can be kind of subtle. So that's why everything in wrestling is exaggerated. So the dude up in the nosebleed seats can tell that there was a low blow. That's essentially why it's so theatrical.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, so thank you for the question. Our final question of the show comes from TMK Tanner, who simply asks, what's your favorite flavor of Dorito? His? Sweet chili heat.
Well, I would probably have to go with just straight up Cool Ranch. I think it's pretty good. I haven't tried a lot of these crazy flavors that have come out recently. There was a time where I had, as a kid, I had so much Cool Ranch that I just couldn't stand it. So I was a nacho cheese guy for a little while. But then I'd gotten past that. It was a few years of recovery in recovery, and I was able to get back on the Cool Ranch train. And I don't really eat a ton of Doritos, but if I do, that's what I'd choose.
yeah, I'm not really a chips guy. I'm more of a popcorn guy, or I try to eat healthy junk food, if that makes sense when it comes to that type of stuff. So right now I have some black beans, Tostitos in the kitchen there with hummus. So yeah, I'm not the guy to answer this, but I did have the Doritos Locos Tacos. I think that's what they were called in Taco Bell. And I mean, that was good. And it was a Doritos shell, although I know a lot of people told me like, hey, that doesn't, it looks like a Dorito, but it doesn't taste like a Dorito.
Oh, dun dun dun.
Yeah. It's all a lie.
So, for reasons that I don't feel like elaborating,
I'm scared.
Doritos are a completely dead concept to me. I actually can't bring myself to eat another Dorito in my lifetime. So I'm going to have to say that I don't know. I can't answer this question. I'm so done with Doritos in my life. Maybe I'll tell the story one day, but today is not that day.
Keith just has a checkered past with Doritos, man.
Seriously, Doritos have been a part of
dark, man.
Doritos have been a part of some low points in my life, and I want nothing to do with them.
I'm just gonna lay down something. You say yes or no. In that kick to the nuts that you got, did you have Doritos underpants to make the damage worse?
No.
Okay. Okay.
But I don't know if it would have made it worse. Maybe
I don't know what that says about your life if you have Doritos underpants.
right? Like I'm happy that answer is no. I think I'm in a way better place than if that answer would be.
Tread lightly.
Guys, Cheez-Its are the best snack food anyway. That's all you need to eat.
It's hard to argue with that.
Regardless of Doritos
I don't
or
know.
Cheez-Its,
A good
we're gonna
plate
have
of
Cheez-Its are
nachos.
bae.
Like Doritos are dead to me, but nachos, man. Oh, just a good plate of
that's good.
nachos.
With just
Buffalo
a bunch
chicken
of
nachos,
cheese.
dude.
I don't know. Chicken nachos is a bit overkill in my mind.
Well, I dislike you now.
That's okay. I'm fully accepting of that.
Donuts.
I love
It's
you.
all about donuts.
No, it's not. Donuts
No.
too sugary, too sweet.
You eat a donut and you just feel horrible the rest of the day. It sits in your stomach like a rock.
Oh, but it feels so good.
I once ate 4 donuts for breakfast at Seattle.
Shit.
Yep. I think I have a photo somewhere. I need to bury that photo up. And they were large, not just glazed donuts. So,
Burn it like my Dorito past.
oh my God. They're so good. But gang, thank you
Burn
so
it, then
much.
dig a hole and
Thank
collect
you.
the soul.
Yeah.
No more souls will be collected this episode because, gang,
But so
This-
many more holes.
this may be the longest episode we may have ever had, or maybe like in over a year. Even that, we weren't able to get through all the questions. Remember that even if we can't get to a question, and if it's not time sensitive, we can jump it over to the next week. You can always continue to send them over because we love this. It's all about a community. We talked about this last week, right? Where yeah, things may be happening around the world that may be positive, may be negative. The same thing can be said about wrestling. But this is your time. This is our time. This is not crime time. This is a time to sort of say, this is my safety net. This is my safety zone. So keep the questions coming, keep the interaction, and keep this going to make you feel better about yourself and everybody. Ryan,
I am.
close out the show.
Yeah, that was okay. Sure, Ryan, finish the show.
All right, well, we want to thank everybody thank you guys for listening to another edition of the Byte That podcast. We're almost at the 2-hour mark, so if you made it this far, you are a champ and truly dedicated listener. We appreciate that. So before you go, we got a few quick things to remind you. If you enjoyed this podcast and you haven't subscribed to us on iTunes yet, make sure to do so. We also got plenty of additional content over on our YouTube channel, so subscribe to that as well. We've got Smackdown 1 gameplay footage, Juan reviewing the newest wrestling loot. You got me reviewing the latest wrestling crate, and plenty of other content, so make sure to check that out. We're also going to be having content up about what we're thankful for during Thanksgiving time, what we're thankful for in WWE in 2016. If you want to go the extra mile in supporting us, head on over to patreon.com/Byte That. For as little as $1, you can get some sweet perks, including raw and uncut video footage of the podcast. So tons of cool perks, and we're heading towards our first goal, which is a 12-hour wrestling video game stream. So plenty to check out there. If you want to contact us, you got @ByteThatCast for Twitter. You got ByteThatCast@gmail.com if you want to send us an email. And you can always write in the comments on the YouTube section for questions for the show. You can do that through any of those avenues. ByteThat.com if you want to get to the BT Crate giveaway as well. So make sure you do that before the contest ends. Juan, when's the contest ending? Is it December?
The contest
December
ends on
7th.
December 7th. Head on over.
My birthday.
December7th.com.
So make sure you head
The
over to
website.
ByteThat.com
The website.
before December 7th to see how you can enter to win a BT Crate with some sweet loot. All right, I'm done talking, guys. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next week.